Friday evening. A wine glass catches kitchen light while pasta water steams, and the pour feels ordinary, almost automatic, like background music. Most of us learned alcohol could strain the liver. Far fewer learned the cancer story hiding behind that same small glass. In January 2025, the U.S. Surgeon General put alcohol and cancer back in the national spotlight with a formal advisory. The advisory did not appear from nowhere. It landed after years of research quietly shifting the conversation away from the old heart, health gray zone.
Not just people who drink also happen to get cancer more. The evidence indicates alcohol can help drive.
The Surgeon General estimated alcohol contributes to nearly 100,000 cancer cases and about 20,000 cancer deaths in the United States each year. Those numbers can sound huge and distant, but the everyday question is smaller. What actually happens after ethanol enters the body? Ethanol is the type of alcohol in beer, wine, and spirits. Your body breaks it down into acetaldehyde, a toxic, cancer-causing compound. The National Cancer Institute explains acetaldehyde can damage D9 proteins, which is one pathway linking alcohol exposure to cancer development. Think of DNA like a recipe card your cells keep copying. Damage does not mean disease is certain, but repeated errors can matter. NIS also lists oxidative stress, impaired nutrient absorption, and increased estrogen levels as additional mechanisms that may raise cancer risk. That estrogen pathway is one reason breast cancer receives special attention in alcohol research, even at lower levels of drink. This is where the message can feel uncomfortable. A drink can be tied to celebration, culture, grief, dating, dinner, and belonging. So let's keep this grounded. This episode is not a scolding. It's a recheck, the kind you do before choosing your next step. Less than half of Americans know alcohol is associated with increased cancer risk, a gap highlighted in reporting around the 2025 advisory. That gap makes sense. For decades, public conversation focused on drunk driving, addiction, pregnancy, and liver disease, not everyday cancer prevention. Rupus said in 2023 that no safe threshold can be established for alcohol and cancer, while risk increases with dose. That phrase can sound absolute. The practical meaning is more nuanced. Lower exposure generally leads to lower population level cancer risk. Population risk is not a prediction for one person. It describes patterns across many people, where small individual changes can add up. So how did alcohol get a heart health halo in the first place? Partly through observational studies that were easy to overread. People who drank moderately sometimes looked healthier than people who did not drink. But those groups differed in income, diet, social networks, and health history. The cancer evidence is different for several sites because mechanisms, dose patterns, and decades of epidemiology point in the same direction. For mouth, throat, larynx, and esophagus cancers, tissues contact alcohol directly before the body even finishes metabolizing it. For liver cancer, the story includes long-term inflammation and liver stress, especially when drinking is heavier or sustained over time. For colorectal cancer, evidence indicates alcohol is associated with increased risk, though individual risk also depends on genetics, diet, weight, and screening. That's the key. Alcohol is one lever, not the whole dashboard. Cancer risk is layered, personal, and never explained by one habit alone. This content is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your health routine. Now let's bring it back to the glass in the kitchen. What counts as lower risk without turning dinner into a spreadsheet? The Surgeon General advisory emphasizes that cancer risk begins to increase even at lower average drinking levels for some alcohol-related cancers. That does not mean one drink creates a predictable outcome. It means the risk curve does not start at zero after some magic cutoff. One useful question is not, am I bad for drinking? It's, does this drink still match what I want from my health? No judgment. If Friday is intentional and Tuesday the autopilot, That's useful information. Awareness often changes behavior before rules do. If you pour wine while cooking, consider making the first drink sparkling water with lime, mint, or a splash of pomegranate. If restaurant pours are generous, one approach is ordering by the glass, sharing, or stopping when the meal starts feeling complete. If social pressure is the hard part, keep a drink in hand that looks festive, bitters, free spritz, iced tea, or sparkling water. If you like calm evidence without shame, consider liking and subscribing. It helps more people find practical health conversations like this. Nessie notes alcohol can impair absorption of nutrients such as folate, which matters because folate helps cells make and repair DNA. This does not mean a salad cancels alcohol. It means the body works as a system, and exposures can push in different directions. The advisory called for updating warning labels on alcoholic beverages to include cancer risk because current public awareness remains low. Labels are policy. Your life is more personal. The practical choice may be cutting back, taking breaks, or choosing not to drink.
Alcohol-free weekdays if that feels manageable.
Or choose one weekly occasion that matters, instead of letting every occasion count. Another option, set a smaller pour. A narrower glass or a half serving can preserve ritual while reducing total ethanol. Alternate every alcoholic drink with water. It may help slow the evening down and makes the next morning feedback easier to read. Alcohol affects cancer risk differently from intoxication risk. You can be below legal impairment limits and still increase long-term exposure. That's why the old question, can I handle my alcohol, misses the cancer prevention question. How much exposure am I choosing over time? Dr. Vivek Murthy warned that staying within older drinking guidelines does not mean there is no cancer risk. That message can be freeing, oddly. You do not have to argue about perfection. You can simply decide whether less fits. If alcohol helps you sleep, consider replacing the function first. Dim lights, warm shower, stretching, or a consistent wind-down routine. Alcohol may make you feel sleepy, but it can fragment sleep later in the night, especially as the body metabolizes it. If alcohol is your stress valve, consider adding support rather than just removing the drink. Walking, therapy, calling someone, or breathing practice. And if cutting back feels hard, that is not a character flaw. It may be a sign to ask for skilled help. Cancer prevention groups increasingly frame alcohol as a modifiable risk factor, meaning one of many exposures people can potentially change. Modifiable does not mean easy. Food culture, work stress, family rituals, and availability all shape what feels normal. Make the easier choice visible. Put sparkling water at eye level, chill alcohol, free options, and keep fresh citrus ready. Make the harder choice less automatic. Store alcohol out of sight, buy smaller amounts, or avoid keeping a backup bottle. NICE states the risk generally rises with the amount of alcohol consumed, and heavier drinking carries higher risk. So the type of drink matters less than the ethanol itself. Beer, wine, and spirits all contribute alcohol exposure. That can simplify the decision. Choose by amount and frequency, not by whether a drink seems more sophisticated or natural. Before a party, decide your plan while your brain is fresh. None, one, alternate, or leave early. Future you benefits. Bring your own appeal. If you are pregnant, taking certain medicines, have liver disease, cancer history, or alcohol, use concerns. Personalized guidance matters even more. The Surgeon General Advisory specifically calls alcohol use one of the leading preventable causes of cancer in the United States. Preventable does not mean blame. It means information gives people more room to choose, and policy more reason to be honest. Here's the recheck. If alcohol were introduced today, with today's cancer evidence, would we talk about it the same way? Maybe not. We might still make room for pleasure and tradition. But we would probably be clear about the trade-off. This week, try one small experiment. One fewer drinking day, one smaller pour, or one event where you choose alcohol-free. Then notice what changes. Sleep, mood, cravings, social comfort, morning energy. Let your own data stay kind and specific. Either way, curiosity beats shame. The wine glass recheck is not about fear. It's about seeing the full picture, then choosing the next pour with clearer eyes. Small changes count. Less can be meaningful. And your health decisions deserve evidence, compassion, and room to be human.